Cool Hand Luke. That's what I like to call him. Hey, Luke, how are you? It's Luke Strange from Cool Hand Electric. He is our electrical expert here on the Check a Pro radio show today. Hey, I got a question for you. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. It's about being hot. I know we're in Texas, but it's not about that heat. It's about switches. Why can an electrical switch be hot?
Gotcha. There's a few reasons. So if you're running a lot of power, okay, it could be a lot of current going through it. So maybe you have can lights. We see that a lot in can lights or living room lights. That's a pretty common thing. Maybe some of those fans with a lot of power and bulbs on them. What happens is if it's not making a good connection, actually, hang on one second. So this in here, for example, so you have power coming into one side, okay, and then it's going to go through the switch and it's going to go to the other side of the switch. So similar to anything trying to make a good connection, you turn the switch on, it's going to be like this. Well, if the switch is getting, let's say it's kind of loose, or there's dirt, or if you have a kid that kind of halfway turns it on but not all the way, it'll be kind of in the almost closed position, almost a good connection. And it's similar to, like a stick weld. It's similar to trying to make a connection, but it's having a hard time having a good connection, and that's going to build up heat. So, and then it'll have what we call micro arcing, little tiny going on. And then a lot of times they're like, oh, and you kick it on. But if that happens over the course of, a year or so, it can make a really bad connection. And I got one for you here. Check this out. This one's a doozy. Look at that.
Oh,
see that melted there?
That's black.
Look at that.
Oh my
Isn't
gosh.
that gnarly?
That got really hot, like a weld.
They just kept on turning them on and just.
Yeah.
I think they had, it was an older couple. They had bad hearing. They couldn't hear it buzzing like that. And so they just saw the lights are going, lights flickering and they, what is going on? So finally the flickering actually had them call us out. And this was, this is pretty extreme, but most of the time you can hear it pretty quick. Most people will say, hey, that's not good. And they'll call out, but we rarely see it that bad. But still, if those type of connections, if it's hot enough to melt that, that's some dangerous crap going on there. So it just starts with a little, it could be a kid or anyone else not closing the connection all the way, and it's just kind of almost all the way up, 7/8, right? It just needs 1/8, a little bit more, and it's just not making a great connection. It's kind of sparking a little bit, and over time it just doesn't make a good connection, gets those hot spots. And then if you have a lot of can lights, especially if you don't have those like the LED type of bulbs, they don't pull as much power, but the regular can lights, even the CFLs, the little curly Q looking ones, those ones still pull a decent amount of power. So if you have a living room and 6 to 8 can lights in there, that's a lot of power going through a tiny little switch that doesn't make a good connection, and that can get pretty hot. So, I don't know, is that useful?
Absolutely. Often no more than 500 watts on that switch. You want it to be less. That's what I've heard. That's what you often see maybe on a switch too, for a warning, no more than 5 at 100 watts. Well, the good news is today is you can get rid of those ones that draw a lot, which is the incandescent light, the one that Edison created originally. And if you go with an LED, like you said, it doesn't draw that much. So,
right. Yeah, they're a good upgrade. They don't pull as much power on the circuit. So it's definitely good for safety reasons, as well as obviously you're going to save some, a little bit of electricity. So.
No, absolutely. And that's a conversation we should have in the near future. The advantage today of LED, for instance, versus the traditional we'll call it old fashioned, the Edison technology, which is the filament, which was great for 100 years, really. And but they get hot, they don't last as long, and they use more energy. And early on, these CFLs, okay idea. I never liked the light from them. I never liked the product at all.
The yellowish tone, buzzy sound.
Yeah. But with the LEDs coming in now, and now they've been perfecting them, I'm starting to like them. But for the longest time, you couldn't get me off of the old Edison technology.
Really?
yeah, because of the warm light that only an incandescent light could do at the time. But today,
totally.
There's all kinds of things that can be done. Well, Luke, as always, thank you so much for joining me here today on Checka Pro Radio. I appreciate it. If you'd like to contact Luke, all of his contact information are in the show notes. Thanks, buddy.
Appreciate you. Have a good one.
Where excellence is filled.